Fleckett of Soltar Solutions, and today I am here on Focus Forward. I would like to talk to you a little bit about the 1 hour a day entrepreneur. Can you imagine such a thing? I mean, I can't even believe it. But this guy has some phenomenal tips. This is wonderful. I love this book. I started reading this book. It's by Henry Evans, and I love it. Already I can see that I've cut about 15 minutes out of my 23-hour-a-day work schedule. So I'm impressed. That's fabulous. And today I have with me someone that I am so crazy about. We've been working together for about, you're not going to believe this when you see him, 5 years. I have Ryan from Modern Image Film and Video Productions. He has done so much work for my clients, for myself. He is fabulous. So welcome, Ryan, to the show. Ryan, I'm so happy to have you here.
I'm happy to be here. Thanks.
You're welcome. So I really want to tell you the video that you produced for Sage Presents that I saw yesterday. I had to have my seatbelt on because I was levitating off that chair. It was fabulous. It was absolutely fabulous. Did you get all those shots? He did shots all over Minneapolis, and you saw shots of the buses and shots of, it was fabulous. Did you get all those shots when you shot the video the other day, or?
I actually got those shots a couple weeks back. We did 2 shoots in Minneapolis, so it was really just 2 locations, but we were in a busy location where there's people walking, there's the light rail, there's the buses. So yeah, just a couple hours of shooting out in Minneapolis.
Wow, it was fabulous. And then you incorporated their new products into it?
Yep, exactly.
Oh, that was amazing. I was so excited to see that. And that's now in California already, isn't it?
That's right. It went with Dean out to California, yeah.
That is amazing. That's fabulous. Okay, so today I want to talk to you about how an entrepreneur can utilize video to really get their business to the next level. Because that's what you do for people, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what I do for people. We work with businesses, organizations of all shapes and sizes to produce powerful, effective video.
Okay, so who would be the perfect person, the perfect client for you?
Ooh, there's a lot of really good ones because we work in a bunch of different industries with a bunch of different people. Great people for me to work with are people like you, folks with lots of different clients looking to build their businesses where I can come in and help with video.
Okay, so when you say come in and help with video, tell me exactly what that means.
Sure. Well, for a typical entrepreneur, they're typically promoting their services, maybe their products. What we'll come in and do is help them to create a video that they can help to market those products and services. So we'll start with, what are some of the key points that we want to communicate? What do we want people to know after they've watched this video? Once we get through those, we'll make a shooting plan. We'll do the filming. We'll do the editing. We'll work through things until everybody loves the final product, and then we get it out there, spread it through social media, get it on YouTube, Facebook, and beyond.
Wow, that sounds great.
Yeah.
So how long does that process take? I mean, you did this video yesterday, and I mean, how long did that take? I mean, that was amazing.
Yeah, that was like an 8-hour turnaround, which is not the not the typical life cycle of a project, but anywhere from 4 to 8 weeks, I would say, from start to finish for most projects.
Okay, so how would somebody know what message they wanted to put in there? Like that seems like that would be kind of a big job to figure out exactly what that message is, especially if you're not used to it and you don't know all the steps that would go into the video or how that would be edited. So how would they figure that out?
Yeah, that's one of the tricky parts about producing a video, and that's what a lot of people have a lot of fear and anxiety about, especially if they're going to be on camera. Oh my God, what am I going to say? So that's something that I'll work with them on to help figure out what those key messages are and how to communicate them. But if you want to go beyond that, somebody like you would be a great help to them as well.
Well, that's good. Thank you. So when we look at it, what about space? What about, people are concerned, I know, well, where would I shoot this video? Or, I think that they probably have, they don't understand the camera angles and things like that. So they think they would have to have a different space or
Right. That's a pretty common misconception about what I do. A lot of people think you have to shoot in a studio, which is funny because here we are shooting in a studio.
Exactly.
But that's not actually the case. In fact, I typically prefer to shoot somebody in their environment, so to speak, in their office, in front of their products, in an environment that helps communicate what they do. So we can bring in our own lighting, we bring in our sound equipment, so really any space can be transformed into a studio with just a couple hours of work.
Wow, that's great. So what kind of things would an entrepreneur, your average client in the entrepreneurial realm, what kind of things would they want to incorporate into these videos?
What I love to show the most is, one, them authentically, genuinely on camera, talking about their products, talking about their services in a way that it is heard. To go beyond that, we want to see them. We want to see, me out shooting video. We want to see you working with clients, putting these products together. That's very powerful. Another great thing that you can do in a video like this is to incorporate testimonials. It's one great thing to have testimonials on Google, have reviews on Angie's List and that kind of thing. But to see your clients on camera talking about the difference you've made for them, that's huge. That's very effective. And when people see that these are real people, they're not actors, and they were genuinely touched by what you did for them, that's very powerful.
Okay, so I think that you just brought up a really good point. You want to see them genuinely on camera.
Always.
So that's telling me that the very polished person, that very polished persona, is not what you're going at.
No, absolutely not. In pretty much every case, we want to come off very authentic, very genuine, as a real person, because that's who people do business with, is real people. And if you're coming off too polished, like the ShamWow guy, that doesn't always sell too well.
Right. So you really are trying to get the essence of the individual, also highlight the brand, what their product or service is,
Sure.
highlight that and bring that into it, and also to see them in their location, and then also, which is a really important part of this, maybe talk to some of their satisfied customers or clients.
Yes. Yep.
Okay, and to get those real-time stories. So how does somebody prepare for something like this?
Prepared to be on camera?
Yeah, to prepare to be on camera.
There's a lot of anxiety around that, and I'm always trying to talk my clients off the ledge, so to speak, before we're shooting a video. And I usually have to reassure them, we're not on live television, at least in the cases of what I'm typically doing. We're not on live TV. Tape is cheap. We can do as many takes as we want. It's low pressure, and if we have to run through it a couple times until they kind of, catch that rhythm, then we can do that.
Oh, so that's good. I think it's really important. I think that they want to be perfect the first time.
Yeah, people expect to be perfect the first time, and that's not always realistic, and it's okay. If it takes a little while to get into it, to push those fears and anxieties down, that's no problem.
Okay, so what other kinds of things do you recommend? Like, say, for instance, we were going to have a photo shoot. What are the things that you would talk to me about?
In terms of your business?
Well, in terms of my business, in terms of the actual photo shoot, what advice would you give a client so they could prepare and they would maybe feel a little bit, I think a lot of it is being out of control. They feel like maybe they're giving up control to the camera, to the person who's doing it, whatever.
Sure.
And so what would help them to have maybe more control over the situation or prepare so they would feel more comfortable?
Sure. Well, definitely, especially in the case of what I'm doing, the client always has the final say on messaging for the video, the way everything is assembled. But beyond that, a good way to prepare for a video shoot is to have talking points. You want to know, at least in a general sense, what you're going to be saying. And typically, you don't want to script that out verbatim because then you become, kind of that deer in the headlights, trying to read, and you lose that authenticity. So that's another big one. Wardrobe, also important. There are certain colors and patterns you want to avoid for video, so that's another good thing to be prepared for as well.
So tell us about those.
White is not good because
Okay.
the bright lights hit the white, and you just, turn into a giant, glowing orb. Black is, depending on your background, black can be okay, like in this case, you know, you look just fine in front of this blue background,
Thank
but
you.
sometimes black can get lost in the background. And then there are fine patterns, which can be troublesome. They cause this thing called the moire effect. Some of you have probably seen it. It kind of looks like a flickering rainbow type thing. So that's one you want to avoid. Jewelry is another one. As you can see, we're wearing microphones here, and sometimes if you have like a big necklace that makes a lot of noise, you might hear that. Same with bracelets, potentially earrings. So those are kind of the big ones.
Okay, and so that's really good advice. So basically, we're saying stick with solid colors.
Yep.
Okay, avoid white, avoid black, and be careful, be mindful of your jewelry.
Yes.
Okay,
absolutely.
so you're not going to want to wear a big necklace that's going to be hitting on the microphone.
Yep, exactly.
Okay, so that's good. So, and then what about the environment? Like a lot of people, like I know if you went to shoot a video in my office right now, because I've been in product production,
Sure.
we would have to call the bulldozer to get them to get space.
Right.
Because I have all the products all over. But so what should people think about for their environment?
You definitely, less is more.
Yeah.
That's kind of a big one. So you don't want to have things being too cluttered. Relatively neat. Space, we don't need a ton of space, but we do need a reasonable amount, enough to, you know, get a couple chairs in the space, to get a camera set up, a couple small lights. So that is important as well. Noise is also a consideration. We can shoot in relatively noisy environments and have it be okay, but if, you know, you have a train going by in the backyard, you know, that's not going to work. Or if you're in the flight path and, you know, airplanes are coming over every couple minutes, that might not be good either.
Well, I know that we've shot videos that in my outer office, which I can't even think about how small that outer office is.
Sure, yeah.
I mean, it's just basically a large hallway that have looked great. So
Yeah.
I know that we don't need a lot of space. One of the things I'm always concerned about is the stuff in the background. I think when people do video or even just regular still photography, you know, they focus on the person that they're shooting or
Right.
that they're taping, when in reality they need to look at the entire shot and then make sure that that shot looks kind of clean.
Yes.
So cleaning out some of those extra things usually helps.
Yes.
And also framing is really important in that.
Yep.
So that's really a key. So anyway, what other things do you think, like things maybe we wouldn't have thought about?
Sure.
You know, like the average person just wouldn't think about. Like they would probably think about what they're going to wear. They might not make the right choice, but they would think about it. They might think about, you know, the plant coming out of the back of their head. You know, they might think about that stuff. But what are those things that they might not think about?
Yeah, the background is a big one, and I've seen a lot of stuff where, you know, you film somebody in front of a pole and you've got kind of a pole coming out of their head, and a lot of times you don't catch it when you're on the shoot. You're looking so much at the subject, you're not paying attention to what's going on around them, and it's not until after the shoot and you get home and look at the footage and you say, oh, what was I thinking? I totally missed that. So it is important when you get your shot set up to look for everything. Another thing I've seen a lot of times is, you know, maybe there's a mirror or there's a window or something like that, and you see the reflection of the camera person in it. And again, that's something that a lot of times goes unseen until after the shoot. You get home, look at the footage. Oops. So yeah, pay very close attention, not only to the subject, but what's going on around them.
Okay, so right now I'm going to throw this out to Robert Dempsey so he can give us some tips for the net.
Great.
Go ahead, Robert.
Hey, I am Robert Dempsey with your tips from the net. And today I want to advise you that when creating content, play to your strengths. So here is what I mean by that. Content comes in many formats: video, text, audio, and also images. And when determining how to, or really what format to use with your content, do not fight against your nature. So, for instance, if you are great on video, you love doing video, then do video. If you like to write, do that. If you just want to record your voice on audio, do that. Or if you're a whiz with Photoshop or some other image editing program, do that. You know, don't force yourself into using a format that doesn't work for you. And here's why I say that. Because you can take a piece of video and turn it into audio, you can get it transcribed and it goes into text, and you could hire someone to create some kind of graphic for that as well. So We all need to create content as entrepreneurs, as marketers. We need to be creating the content, that whole content marketing thing that we've discussed before. And to make it easy on yourself, use whatever format you feel works best. People will consume it all, so it's all good. So that is this week's Tips from the Net. I'm Robert Dempsey, and I will see you next time.
Well, thanks, Robert. That was great. Okay, now, Ryan. So we're looking at the background, we're looking at the environment, we're looking at what other things might we, not take into consideration or not think about that we would want to make sure. So we had mentioned talking in sound bites.
Yes.
So, or what you're calling talking points.
Sure, yeah.
Okay, now what about, let's talk about creative uses for these videos.
Sure.
What other things? Yes, I know we think, oh yeah, we'll put this on YouTube, we'll post it on Facebook, but what other things could we think of that we could use that for?
Right. A lot of clients think that we've produced a fabulous video, I hand it over to them, and now they'll just put it on YouTube and it will go viral. That's not always the case. A lot of times there's a lot of work that has to be done on the back end to get the video out there, to make sure that people see it and to make sure that it has an impact on your business. So the big ones, of course, are YouTube. You want to get it on Facebook. You want to get it on your website, but not just anywhere on the site, the homepage. That's very important. Because a lot of times when people visit the site, if they see that video window right there, more often than not, they're going to take the time to watch it, especially if it's, a 1 minute, a 90-second video. And that's big, not just for them learning more about your business, it's also big for your search engine rankings. So one of the criteria that Google uses to place a website towards the top of the listings is how long somebody spends on the website. So let's say they search for video production Minnesota and they find me, let's say I'm third from the top. They click on it, and if they see that video window right there, they might take the time to watch it. So now they're on the site for, let's say they're on the site for at least 2 minutes. If they clicked on the site, didn't see the video, this is what I'm looking for, and clicked right back, Google's going to see that and they're going to say, okay, this wasn't relevant to what they were looking for, so we're going to lower that down in the future. So that's another key. Email signature is another creative one. Every time you send out an email, there's your video in the email signature or maybe a link to that video. Of course, you want to tweet the video. You want to see if your associates, colleagues, clients will retweet it, will post it up on Facebook. There are also some roundabout ways of getting a video on your LinkedIn page. LinkedIn doesn't let you do it directly, but there are ways you can make that happen. I would say those are the big ones.
Wow, that's great. That's phenomenal. So I've got to remember to put that into my signature.
Yes.
That's an important one. So I do have a question about this. So you have your video, now you're basically sending that out,
Sure.
Through the channels. What about letting, your clients know about that?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that's a great way to get it out there. Not only just you sending the video out there, but if you can get your friends, your colleagues, your clients, family members to send it out there too and help spread the word. And it makes it so much easier if they're in the video. If you do have that testimonial and they're in it, now they can send it out and say, hey, look, I made my first web video debut, and they'll send it out there to their clients as well.
So I think that Ryan has figured out my MO here for having people on the show.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah, and we even talked about that. Get the show
What
out there.
better way to get people involved?
Right.
So that's great. That's really great. So when we look at that, it seems to me like when we're talking about not just one, say, 7-minute video
Right.
that you're delivering. It sounds like you're delivering that video, maybe you're delivering those testimonials separately and on the video, and then maybe you're delivering also some edited versions
Sure.
that they can use for these other things. So when somebody comes in and they get this type of video, an entrepreneur comes in and gets this type of video, how many different types of products do you actually provide them with?
Well, it depends what we're doing. More often than not, I'm giving them the digital file for use on the web, for Facebook, wherever else they want to post it. DVD is another one. That's a media that, it was funny, when I started my company in 2007, everything I did was DVD. And now it's like everything I do is the web. And rarely do I create a DVD for somebody. But that's another way to deliver a product, of course.
Okay, this brings up a really important point. I'm always listening to all these marketing people, a lot of online marketing, a lot of people that like Dan Kennedy and
Sure.
Bill Glazer and Jack and James Malinchak. I mean, over and over. It's really interesting because the studies show that people are willing to pay more for a physical product. So we're all thinking, okay, we're going to put all this stuff in the cloud and people are going to pay
Sure.
to go on and download the things. And yes, they do. They'll pay more for the physical product. So the DVD and the CD and those things are not, and the physical,
Right.
they're not dead.
Right. Oh, no, not at all.
They're still going. I mean, I just had a conversation yesterday with a client about creating a CD and a DVD. He's a comedian. A CD and a DVD, and then sending that out to these people he knows around the world so they can, as they're driving in their car, they could just put that in their car and they could listen to his jokes.
Yeah, right.
I mean, that's fabulous. So, while we're in one place, other people, in different countries, they might be in a different place
Sure.
with that as well. So, where people, I mean, I had somebody tell me, oh, CDs are going to be dead in 6 months. You're not going to see them anymore. I'm like, I hardly doubt that.
Right.
But, so we have to keep remembering that we also need those physical products. Because not everybody is up to where we are with technology. That's
Right.
another thing that's really important. So, so everything is changing. Everything is going to the web. So when you're looking at it, you're producing the DVDs, you're producing the, are you ripping that out for CDs, that audio?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so that's another thing. Then it goes to their iTunes channel.
Yep.
It's just content management
Right.
and content marketing.
Right.
It's phenomenal. So what kind of results do people get? What kind of results when people work with you? What do they report back to tell you? What has happened with their business, with your videos?
Sure. And even I can speak to this myself. Probably about a year and a half ago, I produced a video for myself on my website where I talk about the power of video for business and some of the benefits. And I put it right there on my homepage. And I haven't measured the ROI. I don't know exactly what it is, but there's a lot of times where I've gotten the phone call and the client says, hey, I was looking for a video production company. I saw your website, I watched your video, what you said in that video was really cool, and this and this and this, my boss has been talking about that kind of thing. So I know that it's having an impact, I know that it's connecting with people, and it's starting to build that relationship, because let's face it, people do business with people they like. And so when they see me, smiling face right there on the homepage, and it starts that relationship building process, and it makes it that much easier for them to pick up the phone and call. So that's just one of the benefits that I've seen with video. Another one I've seen, I recently produced a video for this gentleman, put it up on YouTube, and he was contacted by 2020, and they said, hey, we saw your video on YouTube. It looks like you're an expert in the food industry. We'd like to interview you on one of our shows. So, there's a video that we put out there that could have a huge impact on his business.
Well, that's amazing. Yes, what's really funny is I put a video up on YouTube the other night. The next morning, I got an email from this man in Amsterdam talking to me, telling me that he saw the video and would love to talk to me about his new book on cold calling.
Oh, okay.
Now, I'm looking at this, I'm saying, is he really serious here? I mean, it's amazing. He sent me his full bio, he sent me all this information. I mean, that was amazing. I find that amazing. So it's not only that we're just talking to the people locally, we're talking to people all over the world with this.
Yes,
And we're
absolutely.
developing those relationships, and they span the time zones, it spans cultural differences, spans everything.
It's working even while you're sleeping.
It's working even while you're sleeping. I love it. The other thing, when you say it's not measurable, I understand that it's very difficult to measure that when we're talking specifically financially.
Right.
That's a very difficult thing to do. But sometimes if we really have a concerted effort to find out how those people that are calling us got our name, our telephone number, and they were able to connect with us, we can usually find that that went down to something that they saw
Right.
on the web or something like that.
Yeah, that's a big thing for all entrepreneurs, all business owners, is when you get that call out of the blue or that email out of the blue, at some point during that conversation say, hey, just curious, how'd you find me? Because you'll be surprised sometimes what you hear.
Well, I posted something for a client the other day for Rachel, and she got a speaking engagement
Yeah.
from that.
Yep.
So, and specifically, the person said, I wouldn't have known that Rachel was doing that if I didn't see your post on
Right.
Facebook. So Chalk went up to Facebook.
Exactly.
So I was excited about that because, I mean, it was just like a casual thing. We're
Right.
working up for this, we're doing that, and boom, there it was. So that was exciting. That was real. And it opened us up to a whole new group of people.
Right.
That's the other thing.
Yeah, it sometimes feels like you're keeping up your social media, your Twitter, your Facebook, your LinkedIn, your YouTube, and you don't always realize when it's going to come through in a big way. And when it does, it makes it all worth it.
Yeah, it makes it all worth it. Yep, that's really exciting. Yeah, I couldn't believe it. I was just like, wow. And it's very interesting because we knew this woman that ended up hiring Rachel for the speaking engagement through Wolf. And it's really funny because all of us, including you, met through Wolf.
Yeah, right.
Through the Women's Leadership Forum at Best Buy. So when we're looking at that, sometimes we get involved with things we don't know why we're involved.
Right.
We're there face to face, talking to people, meeting people. We say, oh yeah, why not?
Yeah.
And here it is. We meet so many different people, and we're all 5-6 years. How long have we been working together?
5 years going on 6.
Oh yeah. So 5 years. Here we are, all still working together.
Right.
Moving our businesses forward. And how many times have we worked together in 5 years? I mean, I can't even, and we're still working together.
Right.
I mean, it's amazing to me. It's amazing to me. And there you were producing that phenomenal video for Sage that is right now being shown in California. I mean,
Right.
that is, I was amazed at that. That was fabulous. Thanks. But for a long time, we've been talking about doing that B-roll, which that's the other thing. Why don't you talk a tiny bit about B-roll? We have about a minute left.
Okay, sure.
So let's just talk a little bit about B-roll.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, B-roll is something that's great if you're already producing the video. It's something else that's great to just have in the can because you never know when you're going to need it. And a number of years back, you were the one who convinced me, Ryan, you got to get out, you got to go around St. Paul, you got to go around Minneapolis, get shots of the skyline, get shots of the river and all this stuff. And at the time, I didn't see where the uses would come into play, but now it's funny, this many years later, I've been using that footage all over the place. So yeah, it's very cool to have that stuff in the can because you never know where you're going to use it.
Well, I'm looking forward to the first snowstorm so I can shoot some video of that because I always can, it's great. Now we have people from all over the world looking at this show.
Right.
So how cool is it for people like in South Africa to see our big snowstorm here in Minnesota?
Hopefully.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. All right, so Ryan, thank you so much. This was wonderful. I really appreciate you being here with us today. And thank you so much for tuning in and viewing, and contact us. Let us know what's going on. And also, if you have some topic that you would like to know more about, please just give me a call and let me know, or send me a Facebook, an email, whatever. Thanks so much. Bye-bye now.